So guys, before we get into the topic of material creation, I'll give you a note about lighting. These ready-made lights that we put in the scene, for example, the lights that we have in the hard drive or the light. These are the lights in this pendant. These are the lights that are used from the Corona light itself. And there's no point in going over these, guys. Let's see, now in this section, this light that was put in this furnace, we'll come to Mori, we'll stand on the rack, we'll see the Corona light that we want to put. Where do we come from? On this head of the lights. And here we'll put a photomatic of Corona and Corona light. We have different models of Corona light. For example, there are different shapes here. A sphere. Now this one here, a sphere and a rectangle. We have a disc, we have a cylinder, which can be used for this reason. And there's nothing special. Now for example, see that Mori by looking at the branches wrote spire and here, kids, see the intensity of the light, and from here you can give your light a color or not. Do you want to give it a color here? For example, for the base of the cliff, for all the cliffs, give it a color here. But this is nothing special. For example, let's see another one. For example, the light in these lamps. I clicked, it's a cylinder type. Well, first, if we enter the material creation mode, and first create a new material, I will tell you a tip, a technique about material creation, that is very useful, and is used a lot. Well kids, let's see, we have a four-walled room. We also put a mirror here. So all of these have a raw material. Now I want to add a floor. My floor is Heron Selkate, so I want a luxury carpet to this floor. I'm making a decision on this perfection. I'm clicking on the method, and I'm going to go to the main material, to the material of my car. Well kids, see, I just assigned another material to the floor, another gradient to it, and I changed its color so. And they only attributed this meter to my floor. But look, our walls have gone from that blue and white color to this red color. It's a very durable method, and it has an effect on this wall. But we don't want to have something like that in the project. For example, if I have parquet or stone, I don't want it. Whether it's an effect on these walls, or for example, a reflection on these walls, what are we doing about this? So guys, don't import Corona reswitch until the Corona reswitch is legal. On your own, you have to make sure that it doesn't have until at the end, because I will tell you the difference between these two later. We also need a Carl connection map. I'll copy this color of my floor and give it to color correction. And I would also attribute this color collection to all of the Clover switch options. Brush fray switch. Well, my child, I also attributed this to diffuse. See that our conversation broke down. Now we are working with the global sector in this sector. Let me tell you another correction. I'll paint it the same color as the wall I painted ours. It was that color, and we attribute this to Glibber. This one was also red. I don't know why I'm crying. Well, you should see that in the rendering, we don't actually see the red reflection on the walls. So if you want, what did we do now? A Corona reswitch. We created the warts at Seinen and gave the material cap to Carl connection with the global section and attributed it to these sets. And we create the material for the part that we don't want to reflect on this base material that doesn't reflect from our line and attribute it to the global parts, or, for example, you guys see. You see the reflection of the floor in the mirror. A part of the mirror is visible. And we want to avoid that black reflection in the mirror at all. We can give the same sepsis device that we made for Vibar to the reflection section and see what changes. We are no longer white, even in the reflection of the mirror, and we don't have that red color. So let's go and make the material for this curtain of our purchase in this part. Guys, I told you before that I made this material before. I made it with a very high minute, and you can use the material of this curtain and this curtain itself in your projects. But we want to learn together in this session how to make naphte, the material of Harry's curtain. Guys, the trick with this curtain is that you have 3 parts, an upper part that you see. In this way, it has 2 stitches. We cut a middle part of the curtain, and a part that is the bottom of the curtain, which is actually our middle curtain in 2 layers, and we have a stitch here. So we are making a material for this curtain. The material that we assign to the middle part of the curtain is different from the material that we assign to the beginning and end of the curtain. That is, it is the same material, but the numbers are slightly different from each other, which we will see in the following together. See that the template is versatile. So this is the curtain material that I made before. I have 2 textures here that I use. You can come if you want to put a material. Here is the material file. So when we want to find a material for an object, in the material page, we click on this material picker. And let's see if we can copy this to an object of interest. The material was found for us, so you can see that it has 2 material sections. One section is for the bottom and top of the curtain. One section is for the middle part of the curtain. Now I'm going to enlarge this page. We have this material made here, guys. We have 2 textures. I'm going to copy these 2 textures and use them to make our material. One of them is this texture. I'll keep the shaft and make a copy of it. And we also have a bump texture that we'll assign to our normal time. I'll keep the shaft and make a copy of these 2. So I'll bring in Coral Legacy S, so that this is our base material. Now in order to use this texture we have 2 maps, Mix and Falafra. I'll add them. We also need Max and a map from the opposite section. Guys, we use Mohab Falafra a lot in material creation, and it has a lot of utility for us. In fact, Falafra here, you can see that in this section, it has a follower and light section. This section tells the tailor light to our material and makes our material look completely natural. So I'm going to go to this texture. I'm going to half the Max file and open the Max file. In this section, I'm going to move the dark and black colors to cream. I'm going to make the color cream because I'm going to give it color. And now I'm going to do this. We're going to assign Mix to Falafra. Now we're going to work on the Falafra settings together. First, let's go. This is also a base material, right? Let's go to the base material. Let's adjust the numbers. We said that all objects have reflections. They have reflections. And they have glossiness. Glossiness, as we said, shows us whether the material is matte or transparent. Now, for example, I'll put this as reflection. Reflections are also based on light. Well, I'll put it as light. See if it has a light base. Does our curtain have a light base like this and it's so transparent? No, we have to matte this one. To matte it, we have to reduce the glossiness number. So, I'll give the glossiness a number. Weak. Well, we'll see that it's both matte, and we'll see the reflection of light in this material. Well, let's reduce the glossiness a little. Let's give it a 6. Well, it's much better now. Another part that we have here is the transition part. Where is this special break used? For materials like glass, like human skin, like this curtain that have this state together, meaning you can see the reflection of light in it. We use this transmissivity. The higher the number, the intensity of the light reflection is also higher in them. Now, for example, for the curtain of Hatter, I enabled different numbers and came to the conclusion that the number of weeks is also suitable for. And since you see it took such a form, it took the material state of the shade, they think of it as a profile. So now let's go to the Falaf settings and see how the core in the Falaf looks like. Guys, we can change the colors here. The colors of the shadows that we have now are not changing in our curtain. The first one here is maxed out in this section. You can increase and decrease this intensity of the dark and light. This, guys, you have to work so much in different parts. Work on the material so much and render at the same time, and see the effect so that you can achieve a correct material. Here, let's see, here we have the add point menu. We can add points in this section. Now I'll add one here below and one here above. In this section, we also see the part. Dark and light material shows us. Let me open this page. If you want to change it, changes for you. Now see here in the middle, we have the light color white, and up and down like this. We have the cream color. We chose to make it cream. So I'm going to do this point in Corona mode, so I can change it sometimes. We're going to go down to this point, because the dark part is getting bigger. Even here it changed. In fact, the red of this dark part of us got bigger, its opacity got a lot bigger. But when I made this point smaller now, now we're going to work with this point. And now our light part has become a line, and most of our parts have become dark parts. Let's work like this until we get a good result. So I'm now going to attribute the fall off to the diffuse part. So the next step is that our child, this texture that we have here, this first texture, we will apply to this section as well, and we will increase its intensity. Here, look at the intensity. For example, diffuse, for example, we said to use 100%, and reflection 100%. You can change these settings to 4, meaning we'll use 4% of this. And in the next step we need another pulp. I attribute this falafel to Abbassidi, without changing its color or quantity. And we consider the RAM opacity number here to be 50. To every next step, guys, we want to attribute the bump. I think about the bump. I explained to you in the introductory sessions what these bits of information that are in purple are. We usually refer to them as Vasily. We'll give half of the normal corona to the pump, which means no, we'll attach this directly to the pump. We'll give half of this to the normal corona, and from there we'll give half of it to the pump. Let's see how you do it again. Actually, understand the bump. The bump is actually the texture that our material has. So I'm going to insert a normal corona. From the Corona Normal Man section, and this verse of today's man. I'll give half of you to the normal section, and the normal section to the bump section. Now let's see what our material does exactly. We'll wait a bit until this is completely loose. Well, let's see, guys, is it bumpy that we are? We gave it to him, and it wasn't interesting at all, because we don't have such a rude and obvious bump in our game. So here we have a point, and what is that point? When we want a bitmap, we give it to our corner in half. First, I clicked on Corona Normal Settings. I get to Corona Normal Settings, and in this section, I have to check the Agama box here. We'll give this bomb a little shake, so it doesn't come loose again. Look at what a nice texture it's created. What a nice material we have here. Well, this material that we made was the middle part of our skirt. Now, after you make the material for the upper and lower parts of my skin, I will take a copy of the same material. I'll keep the Select shaft for all of this. And I'll take a copy of it below. And this is how we change the material series. For example, in the first step, we go here to the translucency number that we set for the middle part of the children's curtain, because it is more transparent. In fact, you can say that it means that someone has more light. But here, because it was transparent, it decreases. So our transparency number should also be close. That is, I put this on 4. And we go to the opacity section. We also put the opacity number on the number 4. So this material is also created, and in fact, it seems that we have 2 layers of the material above now. Now how can we apply these materials? We have a material called multi-layer in the general section, so I will go to the general material section and the multi-layer object. And when you see this multi-layer object, you will see different IDs for the number 1, 2, 3. When you have an object that has multiple associated materials, you should use this object-specific material. That is, in fact, we assign the material of each part to one of these IDs. Now I'm going to keep this here. How do we know, for example, to go back to the material page? How do I know, for example, to which ID should I give the material of the middle part of the curtain? Give it to ID 1. Give it to ID 2. To solve this issue, we came to the page. We did our X, and I made it big. On our object, this curtain is one of all the curtains. The children are copied from this and give them all the same material. I select this and come to the Edit palette. I come to the Element section. I select the upper part element and look a little lower, you can see here that the set ID2 means if I want to attribute this material to my multi-threaded machine, I have to attribute it to ID number 2. Now let's look at the middle section. Let's see if the middle section is not marked with ID number 1. And what about the bottom? The bottom is the same, because the bottom and top of the curtain were made of the same material. Both are the same, so I see that the ID is number 2. So we saw this upper part, which was more solid. And we saw its numbers, we connected it to the official verse number 1. And this part to verse number 2. So let's go to create the parquet material. In creating the parquet material, we use a texture multiplicity, which you have to create your own texture multiplicity. It is a plugin that you download and install. It is also very easy to use. It is easy to install and use. So I will make a corona of this tile into the scene. And then I will load the texture multiplicity from the maps. Texture multiplicity. So I just double-clicked on this texture multiplicity. This has opened its settings. I click on the texture multiplicity. This page opens for me, and we click Add Bitmap. And we go to the page where we copied our text there. I will show you this textplicity at the end of the sessions, so that you can use them. So see these textplicies in these 5 textplicies. This is in numbers. So now you say, why do we have 6 texture constants? These textures are related to each other, guys. Because when we are in the normal mode, in order to be able to have a natural rendering, we never. Our texture is not repeated. For example, it is not like we have this texture repeated on all the parquets. Randomly we have different textures on the parquets, and that is why in order to have a good and completely detailed work, a work that is very close to the normal state, we use different textures. So the next step is to use the texture that I had given me in the first session, and I made the cap red. And I explained to you how we use it. We use the reception here, because we don't want the color that this material that we add to the floor will spread in our space. We don't want to see the reflection in the space. It will bring in the retouching. Mob and Corona retouching. Kids Corona and Corona retouching. Well, I have this texture nation. Let's hit OK, kid. This is getting sorted. I'll attribute it to all parts of this, to its reflection, its direct, and to its global part. We attribute what we want, that is, the reflection we want to see. We attribute a curl correction. Well, I will also apply this curl correction to the texture layer. I will double-click on it to open its settings, and here I will reduce its texture section. See how its color has changed. Why do we want a reflection? If we have a reflection, we should have a smooth reflection from these complements in our space. And I will attribute this to the global section. So now we want this section. Our direct, reflect, and reflect also have different colors. And I will also give these a curl correction. I will enlarge this so that you can see the changes. So let's go, reduce the saturation a little here. I did this method before, and I came to an approximate material that I thought was good. For example, we will give its number negative thumbs 2. Okay, in this part, we're going to change very little, because this is not very colorful. We're going to give it a lot of numbers, for example, number. I'm going to give it that one, so now it's better. So now I'm going to make this material. I'm going to assign this to diffuse, and we're going to go to our base material. So we have the reflection here. Let's make this one too. We're going to give it a reflection of number 1. I'm going to give it a matte gloss. I think we're going to try the weak number as well. Let's make this a little bigger. Let's see. So I think it's better to make this matte a little more because I don't want to have so much reflection. I'm going to give it half the number. And now it's better. So far, our material is good, but we're going to work on it a little more. The next step is to take a copy of this color collection that we have here. Take a copy of it down, and we're going to give it an output of half. We're going to give it an output of half. We saw the output in the missions and other materials. What does it do? The thing is that we worked on it before. We control the amount of darkness and light, and the light and dark states that our material has with autophoto. So I attribute this to the work of the collection. I give it 2 points. 1 point here and 1 point here. I'll put this on the Bezier curve mode so that I can. You guys can add as many points as you want and control the darkness and lightness of the texture with it. See, it's darker now. This one I brought here is brighter. It's relatively better now. Guys, you don't have to use the default here. I mean, I work a lot myself, but I just used it, and it doesn't mean that the more you do this process, it will be cleaner, and you will make a better material. No, it's much easier than that, and you can do it. Up until now, you've just used the parquet material, and it was good. But I did this out of habit and habit. So if you want to do it so that you can get better results, I also used this option with reflection color and for the flex class, we also assign half. So again, I'm going to work on the base material a little bit in these mobs. I'm going to reduce the reflection number. I'm going to set it to 15, and the reflection glossiness is going to be 10. So our parquet material is created. Let's see if I can enlarge it. Let's see. And now we're going to go to the main page of this parquet. We're also going to select the parquet on the top floor. and assign the material to both of them in half. I'm also assigning this material. Now I want to get a render of a part of this parquet that we created, the parquet material that we created, to see what the result looks like. Now my word and parquet are in my selection. My selection is in my rendering setup. I'm going to open my rendering setup, and this is while our child selection is a material override. If we click on this, it will come out of the override mode. So now I want to. Let's get a quality render of this section. So let's go guys, get a render of a piece of parquet. Let's see the quality render. The material is good. The material that was made in the middle. I'm in my camera view, and I'm opening the render setup. Let's first turn on this camera. Turn on the camera. Well, now I want to render from just my park section, and I'm going to select the terrain option here. Well, then you'll see a rectangle appears here. I can adjust this and get a render from where I want. From a more advanced place, a high-quality render. That interactive render. We could also select a section like this and get a render from it. But because I want to get a high-quality render now, I've specified this limit, and I'm going to turn on the camera to get a render for me. Well, of course, my category is not yet complete, and this category is still ongoing. And so you can see this material that we made, and I think it's a very good material, and I'll use this, okay. The material we want to make is the material of this rappel fence and the window frame, which are both the same material. And we'll create a metric and assign it to both of them. Since this series is a very simple material, I'll stage a Corona physical metal bar. So its settings are opened here. It's a square here from this section. I'll select metal, and the color we're considering is black, and I'll bring this to the end. Guys, remember whenever you're adding color to your metal, we never have absolute black, meaning it's not a straight line, and we don't even have absolute white in nature, even if you want to put it in the blackest state. It should have a distance from the endpoint. Okay, we have one color. Now here we have the roughness section, which is like the glassine end. The amount of opacity is transparent. The opacity is transparent. The opacity is transparent. The opacity is transparent. The opacity is transparent. I chose this myself. I have had the reference preview on the week for years. I will make it a little less sour. I will leave it for weeks. So let me open this. We made another talisman, and we will continue. I'm just getting out of here. Look like this. We're going to go all the way around our bucket. I'm going to select this object. All these objects. Well, I've selected the right objects. We actually have 2 objects in the interior section. I'm going to select that one too. What about this guy who was on the upper floor? I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to assign this material to them. And from here, let's go to the rappel material section. How is this? That we want these fences to give them these meters. I'm going to isolate this. You see this together. Well, I separated the air a bit. You can also give it the material like this. Look, you magicians, I already did this magic. You can select this section and ditch it, come down here. We have the detach option, the fences that I previously detached. Here, if you detach, this will detach from these fences. And first, because you select these fences separately, and you can see them, and that's it. I'll select this, I'll hit Ctrl A, and now it's all selected. I'll just select the fences before. So we first selected the entire shape with Ctrl A, and we hit Alt, and we deselect this part. Now we can give these fences the same respect that they're selected. So after this session, let's go create the materials for the walls and our ceiling, and then we'll create the materials for the cabinets so that our work can be gradually completed. So I'll go into the materials page as well. First, I will make a Corona vote for my brother Sane. To make this material, kids, we also need coronavirus. Okay, let's make our Corona Ray Switch your baby of the week. Don't enter Corona Ray Switch MTail. Corona Ray Switch is empty. We attribute this to the diffuse. Now let's make our color correct for the material. We are working hard to make our film more colorful. We have nothing to do. This part that has a light blue color and a material blue color for us, we're going to repaint this part and I want to make it a cream color. Well, I made this color before. And these guys, the color I made, this color, you end up with an almost cream color. With this number, you can also achieve this color. So I'll copy this and copy the same color, and give this ratio to both the refracted and direct parts. So guys, I want to give the GI section a color that is almost neutral, not creamy. So a little higher, a little lower. So, if that's okay, you guys can do it too. Appreciate the use. I want this to be lame with the sabe I have on my stage. So guys, I want to have a C-speed map or texture that is not too obvious. I want my work to look more natural and better. I'll go to the map section, Corona and Corona bitmap, and guys, when you play Corona bitmap, you go to the part where you sip these bitmaps. I select this bitmap. And I'll talk more, so I attribute this bitmap to color reflection and glass reflection, and also to Bob. Well, let's take a look at our material and see how it looks. Well, we see, kid, this is not normal at all. Normally, our wall is not so black and white and doesn't have so many bumps. So what should we do? We go to the main material and reduce the effect of this texture. I'm on the main material. Let's go to the main material. Let's fix this part first. I know that we have a reflection in this material. I'll set the reflection to 1 and the glossiness to 100, because our material is very matte. Well, we said that the intensity of these was too high, so we need to reduce the intensity. I'm going to the reflection rock. The reflection number is rock. I said, for example, use 100% or the reflection of this map. I'll set it to 5, that is, use 5% full. I'll set the glossiness to 10. I'll also set the bump to 3 or 10 because we don't have enough bumps in our walls to look completely rough, so now I'm going to enlarge the material. See that the material turned out well, and it became completely natural. Well, we're going to use this material. And up to this point, you're going to come to the scene. This is not the railing, you're going to select all of these part of the stairs walls so that they don't do this to you when the video doesn't get too long. I told you it's very simple. You select all of these and apply it to it. You apply this material to it from this section. Now we want to make the cabinet material, the material for the cabinet doors. So what's all this for once? The cabinet doors are made of selected material. I'm going to use this material because I want my cabinet to have exactly the same color. With the difference that I see these that you assign to the hard walls, well, I select this one, I keep the shape, I make a copy of it. I just delete this part, this texture, and that's it. These colors that we assign here, and I come and assign this to the cabinet doors. Well, in the next parts we will completely remove this scene from the override, meaning we will go to the render setup in here. We will remove this MTL override piece so that we can see all the materials, see the materials of these objects, so that if there is a need to change or modify it, we can do it together. And guys, keep this in mind that we are not going to create all the materials ourselves in all projects. I have an object with a cape here that has a very good material, so there is no need for me to create this material from scratch, and it is a lot of work. In fact, it is time-consuming, which is not worth it. So you should do this all yourself in your projects. Or for example, we do not need to create the material of this plant ourselves in our projects, when we already have a quality object, and we can use it in the scene. So guys, in this part we're going to create the stone material between the cabinets, and in the first step I also visualized the cabinet so that I could draw the stone more easily. So what are we going to do first? We're going to draw a plane here, so we need to put this at a right angle so that we can rasp the plane. I'm going to come in at an angle. I'm getting ready. I'm cleaning. My snuff is active. So now I'm going to a perspective view. Well, this axis is off. My snuff is on. And I'm drawing this plane right now, my friend. And they often hit where our plane should be. So let's go make the material. I open my page. Many of the materials, kids, will become simpler from here on out. But so far, it's been simple, and we haven't done anything fancy or strange. I enlarged the material page, and one corona is missing. This shot I have to make a scene to see more corona. So I'm going to choose this stone and use Corona bit free to enter it into the material page. You can also use this stone for between cabinets and use this cabinet and countertop. And you can use it in any way you like. Well, I need Corona reswitch here. We also need a corner switch and 2 calorie connections. Guys, I'll import a calorie connection and copy it. So from this correction, I'll keep a copy of the data shift. I'll make a copy of this bitmap here. I attribute each Carl correction, and this top one, guys, I attribute one to GI, and the bottom one to these 3. Well, this color collection that we attribute to our GI and parks, if you remember we did this, we reduced their storage to the end, so let's see. I will enlarge it to see. Yes. I also attribute this to diffuse. So let's make some changes on all of these. Here I want to actually reduce the numbers that I reached after all the trial and error, guys. For example, the kids gave the hue section about 5, and the saturation section also -3. You can also adjust the different numbers yourself and see. What does this bitmap change when we increase and decrease the numbers? Well, let's go and make some basic adjustments. Our stone has 100% reflection. We know that the reflection is 1 and the glossiness is 8. Now let's open my material and see how the material we created looks like. Okay, I was trying to achieve something like this. Now we're going to go and assign this. Well, this is the selection. We assigned it. Well, kids, let's see in the next step. We have to come to this stone. Now we see that it's not in the right state at all. The bitmap is the same as ours. In reality, we also don't have anything. We have to come to assign UV to it. I already added the UV map here in this list that I gave a quick list to. You can also find the UV from this modify list section and assign the UV map to this. The shape you have, I'll put this in box mode, and from here we know, guys, let's adjust the settings. And one more thing we can do, this is big for this page, we can click on this symbol next to Yuri, click on the gizmo mode, and I'll scale this C. We'll scale this, so the other way, guys, is that you click on this useful bit here from this part and I'll come. I'll select this bitmap that I assigned to it, and we'll see that the hashtag fed and scaled it. I'll tweak it a little more and now it's good. This same robot should be assigned to the same material that was created. Go to the section, now it's better. So guys, we should assign the material that we created to this page on the cable. And this is the same. We can pop out the UV that we gave to this and assign it to this material. I was in a hurry before, but now I've added it, and look how much better the flow has become. So what's Verdi's job? Verdi's job is that, guys, we have to put a light under this cabinet top. We're going to put a light here. Well, I'm going to keep this light in the light section. And from here I'm going to select Chrono to Light Chrono. So we're going to draw this light. Then I'm going to reduce its worship. Well, this is the first thing I have to do. We're going to adjust its dimensions, and I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to put it in this diffuser, because the child's active use is a little slow here. I'm going to put it on the head, so that I can see where this light is going to be. And I'm going to take it to the end of the cabinet and I'm going to make it a little thicker. I have to heat it manually, so now it's better to tell it with 4 bags. It's more suitable for you. Guys, be careful. The direction of your light is correct. Now see that the direction of our light is downwards, and this direction is correct. Sometimes you may draw your tangle wrong, and the direction of the light is up or towards the doturf. So when we put the light, we will remove these ticks. What are these ticks for? The visible directory tick is so that we can actually see the light source itself. We don't want to see the light source, and we just want to see its effect. These are also related to the reflection and reflection of light section. This soft gas doter, I will explain to you later what effect it has on our more. Well, we will color this light and its intensity later in light, guys. And let's go and render it together and see. Okay, I am seeing the render place right now. Guys, there is no kind of. It doesn't give any light to them because I told you that every light we add, we had to go to General and add it, and that light had a separate setting here. You guys shouldn't put this light in the general light, because if you do that, all the light settings we gave will clash. They will all turn white, and this number will all be 1. Now this light of ours has gone under the total of the rose light. We said that the light that you don't generate will give off a rose under the total light. I'll turn this on later so that you can see why this light should be turned on. And the color is white. I want to copy a color from the top. Assign this color to it. And I'll also reduce its intensity. Kids, that's it. Now kids, we're working on our lighting. The lighting for this scene isn't complete yet. We have a series of edits that we need to do that we'll do together in the next meetings. Well, maybe this is it, kids, and now we want to. Over here, maybe this side where we have the TV table, we'll set up the TV table material, and for this we'll go into the swing view. And we'll put a camera. So our TV table is here. I'm my camera. I'm here to see you all. Let them know what scene we have. Me and Zabi, we code it like this. And look here. You can also click the camera, and when you put it down, select the count and have a code like this. Now we want to create the material of this TV room together. First, we want the child to create their material, and these cages that we have here, which is a very simple material. So I'm going to make a Cornelian Jasmine, a scene of the scene. And here in the diffuse section, I'm going to make the color difficult. I'm going to put the reflection on the number 1 field, and the glossiness on the weak. I'm going to put this Fresnel Ivar on the number 2 field. So let's take a look at our material. The same material comes to the child, and we're going to assign it to these sections. I'm going to add this perspective. I'm going to add the number pi so that I can move here. Well, this was selected before and so was this section. And we attribute the safe to them. Well, and also guys, to this table that we have here, these were the doors on our table. We attribute the doors to the doors, and to the table itself I selected it, and yes, this material is attributed to it. So now let's go to the material behind the TV. Is it a stone? So now let's go create this back material together, which is also a very simple core material. Let's see what's in the middle. I think we drew this rectangle initially, but if you hadn't drawn it, you would have drawn this rectangle here from top to bottom. So this rectangle is the same selection, and I'll draw this input legibility channel again. And by using Corona Bitboard we go to where this. We save the bit mark and open is attributed to diffuse, and that's it guys, we don't do anything else, only I give it the number 1 reflection. Let's check the material together. Well, we'll see like this, so I'll attribute it to this. We'll see guys, again I'll give this one a new B, always from Joey in my video 4. Use the correct placement of your text. I'll open it, and use Bitmap Fit to filter this. And I'll scale it down a bit. I put this on Jasmine's mode, and if you guys want, you can use another stone. You can use it with another stone like this. What we did was, guys, we're going to go into these cages and put a piece of wood in the back of these cages. And we're going to put a piece of wood in these cages. Hey guys, I meant plane. I drew a plane on both sides, so I didn't draw it again to save time on the video. So let's make this jump 2 planes, and now we're going to create its material. Well, this one has a very simple material. Again, I'm using a Corona layer and using the Corona bitmap. I will choose the wood that I want to give to him. Well, guys, I don't want my wood to be this color. I use a curl correction so much. I'm going to attribute this bitmap to my color. Enlarge this page. I want to reduce the tension there. I want it to be even more than this, guys. At the same time, I'm also looking at how the color is. I want it to be much lighter than this, so I think yes, it's so good. And I attribute this to diffuse. Excuse me. I attribute diffusion to the departure of people. The water of Matalil is also R20. Let's fix it. I will give a number to the reflection, and also the glossiness. Well, I want my wood to be a bit more matte. I will see the number of Shisht Khan. So let's see if we can compare this ointment. I will choose both of these home bets together, and give them half of this stuff. Well, I'll give it a UNITA blue map, put it on box mode, and use Fitbit map again and again. Many I will zoom this one you can see. In this way, you will also make this dish. Well, both of them were selected together, and we gave UV to one of them, and both of them were assigned. This is my pit map. This texture is correct, but look at this kid's texture is messed up. I'll fix this texture. I'll put it in gizmo mode and root it once. And I want it to be vertical. I texted you. Let's work together and give it a better shape. Well guys, we also have a series of lights under these cages, which I put here if you can see. The shadow has fallen here, like the same light that we put under our cabinet. We will put these lights here too. And look, we will put this light under all of them, and we will copy all of them to this side. Now we will control the color and intensity of this with each other in the next sessions. The rest of the kids, be careful about this nectar. When you draw this light here, put the light on, and if you want to copy it for the lower cages, make sure to copy it on the instance mode. That every change we wanted to make on this light should be made on all these lights. And also when you want to make a copy of the lights on this side for the opposite side, it should be on this side again. Well, we're almost 90% done and we had a lot of work to do. Here, you guys see these balls that you put in the container, and they look like glass. We were going to create their material together. I left the scene. So, how is the material for these balls made? We put these balls in this container and set the light mode, and it has a very easy material. Let's go make the material for this ball and see what it looks like. To create the material for this ball that also lets light pass through itself, we'll take a jasmine teal cornel again and put it on the scene. And I'll set the diffuse color to almost this color and give it a reflection of 1. I'll also set its glassiness to 6. Well, you guys know that they also have reflection, because we can see that side of it too. It has reflection, so we give its reflection a number of 1 and look at the glassiness of the number of suits. What does the material we made look like? So this is the material we made. I think it would be better to put its reflection. The number of weeks changes. So yeah. You'll like it better this way. This is our flower material. Until the next session, we'll work more on light settings, and in the light mix section and the shadow section.